It's an absolute honor to welcome entrepreneur, former athlete, philanthropist, and global builder, Mr. Rohan Marley, carrying forward one of the most iconic legacies in the world. Rohan has built his own path, rooted in purpose, sustainability, and community. From the office fields of Jamaica to the global marketplace, he has shown that business can be both profitable and profoundly meaningful. As the founder of Marley Coffee, Rohan has championed organic farming, ethical sourcing, and the idea that every cup of coffee can make a difference. Beyond Marley Coffee, his work with House of Marley and allied lifestyle lines showcases a steady commitment to aligning people, planet, and profit. Today, we will dive into his journey as an entrepreneur and explore how vision, values, and legacy come together to shape impactful businesses. Hi, Rohan. My first question is you grew up surrounded by one of the world's most powerful cultural legacies, but you carved your own identity through entrepreneurship. What
Correct.
inspired you to take the path of building businesses rather than following a more conventional way or conventional route?
Well, good to meet you, man. Thank you for this interview and the opportunity. Well, I would say that what led me to becoming a true entrepreneur was wanting to do something with my life after college, and being that my first passion was being an athlete. And after, in any success, you have failure. And after succeeding at a young age at being an athlete and failing later on in being a professional athlete, you got to kind of carve your way out and figure out something else. And these things happen through relationships, through instances and moments, and almost like magic, because I think it's magic. Because if someone says to me, "Hey, I believe that there's a piece of property that belongs in the Marley family, and, and you should take a look at this property," and I was like, "Okay, let me take a look at this land." I saw this property, and when I saw this land, I saw the opportunity to to begin this next journey, to being able to take this land and create, because I knew that anything that we see in life, it all starts from a raw material, right?
Right.
And that was kind of my way. I stumbled upon a piece of property in Jamaica after going through my tribulations, and it's kind of how I entered into the entrepreneurship. And it was my wayward in terms of the beginning stage of learning how to do something else other than playing sports.
Got it. So it's quite the different transition from being an athlete to being an entrepreneur. The Marley Coffee has become, synonymous with sustainability and community empowerment. So, what were the biggest challenges that you faced in building a socially conscious brand in such a competitive and volatile market?
So to add on to what I just said, so now I discover this property, right? And what are you gonna do? What do you know about anything? I don't know nothing. But what I do know is there was a greater purpose to life than just dollars and cents. And being Rastafari, when I had this property, my first thing was, I am Rastafari. What am I going to do with this land? Well, I'm ITIL. What is ITIL? ITIL means organic. Okay, this property that I have, I can't take this property anywhere. Well, what are you going to do with this property? Well, I'm giving this property to become like a steward to this community and how to build a relationship. And that's the moment I understood what sustainability meant. I have this farm, there's a community, they need work, I need to develop this vision I have. And here's a way that this land, if we take care of the land can be around for many years. And I'll be able to create an ecosystem that can begin to be like a reliable source to help to begin a sustainable movement. And I believe that through Rastafari teachings and principles, that led me into a way of life, and that being Rastafari, I wanted my business to be like me and myself, not like the business. And Rastafari people, we think humanity first, we think soul first, and we think the people first and the community first. So it was a way now to really get into the mindset of understanding, oh, this is what sustainability means. You have to be able to build a cycle so you're encouraging and making life better for others. And that's how I learned about sustainability. And that's how I became an organic movement in terms of my business acumens.
And if we want to talk about some of the challenges that you faced in the early stage of
Well,
business.
the challenges are okay, you have a farm, you have people working on your farm. Now, how do you then take the cherry and turn it into a product?
That's the real question, right?
Right. So now that you got the community going, sustainability moving, now you have your farm and you're looking good. You have cherries on the tree. How do I then take cherries and put that in a bag?
Right, right, right.
So my challenges began after that. Not only did I have to learn how to grow coffee, learn about seed to cup, I had to learn the process of getting the cherry into the a bag, like get the beans to be roasted. What does that mean? Now you have to go and deal with the big processors and not being able to produce enough quantity to have an export license. You have to just sell your raw material to the guys that they drive around your community and they buy all the cherries from all the small farmers. Whether you have 52 acres or 2 acres, it didn't matter because you don't have a processing plant and you're not producing enough product in order for the government to give you an export license. So you just the challenges are you don't have the money and the resources to be a vertical. And and then just that. I mean, I went through a lot. I didn't want to sell my 60 pounds of coffee for $60 because 1 pound cost $80.
Mhm.
But because I'm raw material, I got to sell everything, the raw material at $60. But if I can process this raw material, I can then quadruple my whatever, I can then turn that raw material into a product. But I don't have the know-how and the necessities, the ability, the capabilities to do that. So that's when my challenge began. So I had to start to learn that all that other, I had to go and relearn and learn life again all over again. And that was now, I gave up. I gave up on that because I took my raw material. I decided that I wouldn't give my cherries to the bigger guys because I didn't think it was going to work for me. So I said, I want to do it myself.
No,
So I
no.
bought my own hand pulper. I would pump my own, I'll pump my own cherries. I'll take my mucilage into Kingston in my dad's yard because at the time we still do. We have the Bob Marley Museum, and the Bob Marley Museum, we have a certain amount of tourists. They come
Mm.
there every day and they like to take my dad's t-shirts and merchandise when they leave. So I said, well,
Mhm.
you know what? I'll just create this. I'll find a roaster here and I'll sell it to these guys. I don't want to sell it to the big guys to do whatever they want with my beans or cherries. I'll do it
Mhm.
myself.
Great, great,
So the
great.
challenge was just to get that to that level. Well, I couldn't get it to that level either. Because the processor that I did find, when I first started, my concept was to build an organic business. When I
Yeah.
gave those guys my raw material, they told me that all my product was bad. And I asked them, why is it bad? They told me that, we don't do the organic stuff, so we couldn't even grade your coffee. And that's when I kind of gave up on trying to work in the system. So I moved to Ethiopia. I gave up on a lot of things. I moved to Ethiopia to really find life. And while I'm in Ethiopia, I discovered that Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee, and that
Mm.
companies like Starbucks and other companies were sourcing coffee from Ethiopia. And
Okay.
that's when the other journey began, where I started to really understand that 52 acres is not a business. And and to have a business, you have to understand scalability, and you have to source coffee from other farmers, and you have to do what the big guys are doing.
Right.
And the concept came to me when I realized that the biggest coffee company in the world at the time didn't own a coffee farm. And I said, well, if I own a coffee farm, I will use my coffee farm as my inspiration to be able to go out into the world and explore other coffee growers and create the brand Marley Coffee. So I started to really take on the hurdles by becoming like a coffee business and not just a coffee farmer.
Mm. So, while building such big businesses, like you talk about, sustainability, you talk about souls, you talk about humanity. But if we talk about the business part, the money part, how do you stay true to your values in this business journey?
So that's like that. So we stay true to our generation and our legacy. And that means what I was taught, I should be able to hand that down to my children. But the only way you can do that, you have to follow your teachings that you're given as a student to your father and the legacy. So, in order to maintain that, you have to learn from your brothers and sisters as well as your father and the teach and tap into the vein of the teachings of your father, which is the teachings of Rastafari.
Very nice to hear it. And as the world is dynamically moving into the AI, so do you see any impact of AI influencing the creativity, leadership, or maybe the connect with
Absolutely.
people?
Absolutely. For a man like myself, um, I see AI moving into many different formats. And when you talk about AI and what AI can do today, if you think about medical and the medical field, what AI can do for the medical field is really astronomical because in rural areas and trying to get overstanding of what you need as a patient and having the communication with a doctor right then and there immediately, it's really helpful in rural areas. So for me, not only is it good in the arts world and the information world, it's also, I think it's going to be a great tool in the medical platform. And if I can be any help to that, I want to be a part of that. But also in terms of researching and development, for me, I see AI as a super quick tool to tap into all of the words and work that's been done and formulating that in a way that it can be articulated because there's nothing new under the sun. So all the AI is doing, AI ain't smarter than me. AI just have more bandwidth than me. So I use the AI as a tool to benefit, not as a rely, not something to rely on, but something to benefit from.
Let's talk about the legacy that you carry because it's a very big thing to carry, I believe. And your legacy is deeply rooted in unity, love, and culture. So, how this teachings or how this legacy of your father has influenced your leadership style and the business values that you carry with you?
Well, the magic was when you're young, you don't know because you're led by the wind. And after being led by the wind, you go to and from, like the bushes when the breeze blow, you go this way, that way. So you don't know, but it's okay because you're led by elements, right? You're led by the wind. But after the wind, you get into the fire state, right? Where you have passion and desires and all those things, they come from a place, right? So as a human, as a being, you try to identify your soul and your consciousness, right? So going through those pathways, you have to have the patience to know because you're taught by your forefathers and the ones before you that it's a journey. And like I tell you about the journey of the elements, So once you understand that you're led by elements and you can get into the fire state, and then when you go to fire and you can being able to tap into the water state, then you become being able to now absorb and flow and channel and take on to capacities that you never thought you could have before, because with your fire you burnt everything down. So with your water now you got to cool it off and you got to make
Yeah.
your way, right? And you got to fit through
Yes.
cracks and creases and still be cool and deadly, right? Flow.
Right.
You got to be able to flow. So it's really that. It's really understanding that we're of elements, and being a part of that, you're able to direct life and being able to accept your teachings and know that everything is within time and not to be so hasty. So that's how we're able to direct legacy.
So is there any particular word or particular advice that has made impact on your life or that has shaped your journey? Anything specific or any
Oh, so
one?
many. There's too
Yeah, yeah, I
many. There's
believe
too
there are
many.
a lot of things, but still, if you carry that one message with you always.
I have to find it. I gotta, because there's so many. I gotta think of which one. Now that you say this, which one came to mind? Let me see. I have messages from my brothers. I have messages from sisters. I have messages from father, God, myself. I don't know. I have to think. I think the message is this: stick within your lineage. Follow your father's teaching, and always know that you come from somewhere. And once you can find out where you come from, you'll always stay on path. Just remember your roots.
Yeah, that's really important one.
Because everyone is individual, you know what I'm saying? So you can't
Right.
like, my message is not for it's like if you can relate to it, it's good.
Yeah,
But it's
yes,
it's
yes,
just for me, you know. So but those are the relativity side of it, you know?
right. The next one is what piece of advice would you like to give to the young entrepreneurs, young founders, those who are, trying to lead the businesses with any purpose, any kind of message that you would want to give to the next generation of entrepreneurs?
For the next generation of entrepreneur, I would say, listen, we're all individuals. We all have the God particle, you know. So we all have imagination, right?
Yes,
If
right.
you, yes, if you can stay focused on your imagination, and if you love what you're imagining, and you want to see what you imagine come to life, you got to find it, you know? You got to seek, you know? Because everything that we see in life was once a thought,
Yes,
right? Everything we see in life was once imagined.
right.
So if we can get to that, anything is possible. And we can do whatever we want, you know, because everything we see, man created it and it all came from thought. So that's what I would say.
Great, great, great. It was really different, but the much needed piece of advice for all of us. So, on a lighter note, have you had any thought of going into the music or maybe following?
No,
No.
my music
Okay.
is my music is the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I am. My children, my family, my father, everything, my everything. That's my music. My life is my music. So that is the music for me, the sounds of life, the way of life, and the principles in life. That's music. So I'm in music. I am music.
Yo, that's really wonderful to know. Like it was, I had goosebumps after hearing this. It's really nice to hear because it felt so genuine and it felt so real what you just said.
True.
So, really, really, thank you for joining me. Thank you for giving
Absolutely.
time from your
Anytime,
busy
sir.
schedule, and it was very nice. It was short but very productive interview that I would say.
All right. Well, it was nice to talk to you as well.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Thanks a lot.
Rastafari.
Thanks a lot. I look forward to meeting
Absolutely.
you again.
Blessed
Thanks a
love
lot.
and might.
Thank you.
I
Thank
yeah,
you.
man.
Bye. Have a
Yeah,
nice day
man.
ahead. Bye.